This is your Anxiety Toolkit, episode number 68. Welcome to Your Anxiety Toolkit. I'm your host, Kimberly Quinlan. This podcast is fueled by three main goals. The first goal is to provide you with some extra tools to help you manage your anxiety. Second goal, to inspire you. Anxiety doesn't get to decide how you live your life. And number three, and I leave the best for last, is to provide you with one big, fat virtual hug. Because experiencing anxiety ain't easy. If that sounds good to you, let's go. Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of Your Anxiety Toolkit. I'm so thrilled to have you guys here with me. If anyone here is new as a new member of the CBT school community, I welcome you. I am guessing we have a few new people here today, given that we had such an amazing show for ERP school, and I know everyone from ERP school has been sent over to the podcast. So welcome if you're new, and if you're not, I am so grateful for you and for coming back and spending some time with me. Well, today I'm actually going to talk with you about something that I'm really actually quite passionate about. This is going to be an episode which is probably the most in line with my goal for CBT school and all the work that I'm doing. And what that is this episode is called How to Do Hard Things. And so I think about it often of like, what can I do? How can I serve my community? How can I make a change? And I think the truth is I really feel like the place that I can make a change is to help people see that they can do hard things. I think we're led so often by a massive multi-million-dollar marketing industry that keeps telling us that there are things that should be able to make it easier, and that the direction we should be all going is with ease. You know, even as I buy new products, I notice even on the labeling, it's saying new, easier, less steps, carefree. And so I think that we're constantly being fed this idea that it should be easy, and there's something wrong with us if it's not. And I really disagree with that view. I think that things are hard, and I think we should honor that they're hard, and I think we should honor our discomfort with it. But we still should honor our strength because we can do hard things. And I know you guys know I say it all the time. It's a beautiful day to do hard things. So that's what we're talking about today. Before we get into the content of the episode, I want to quickly do a couple of announcements. So number one is the OCD Stories Summit. Our very good friend Stu Ralph is running the OCD Stories Summit. This will be online summit for therapists, so it's only for therapists. And it's basically going to be online, amazing training from some amazing therapists who can help those therapists who are either new to OCD and want to learn about OCD, or those who are really, really seasoned but really want to find out about the new research and new ways of doing things. There are some incredible therapists and therapists who have been doing this for a very long time or who are very, very inspirational. There's Stephen Phillipson, John Hirschfeld, Charla Nicely, Dr. John Grayson, John Abrahamowitz, and Stephen Smith. And I'm so honored to be one of the speakers as well. And so to be honest with you, I'm actually still in a little bit of shock that I got invited to be on such an amazing panel. But as I said, it's some incredible speakers in the field of obsessive compulsive disorder. So that is there. What I would encourage you guys to do is to go to the OCD Summit.theocdstories.com. I will also add a link in the show notes if you're interested and you're a therapist. It's a 6-part interview series. I am so excited, and the tickets are only available until the 31st of August. So please jump in, go do it right away. It will be an amazing, amazing event. Now, in addition, exciting news is that the OCD Awareness Week is coming up in October 7th through the 13th. So please do start to plan how you can spread awareness for OCD during that time, or, anytime you can. But this is the really important week to do it. So if you can, go to the iocdf.org and see what's happening. There might be something actually happening close to you. There's lots of organizations and affiliate groups that are putting together walks or, events or meetups. And if you don't have anything in your area, you might want to contact them and see if you want to hold one on your own. So it's really important we come together and spread awareness. So that's all the announcements I have. Let's get straight into the podcast episode. So, it's a beautiful day to do hard things. I say this really regularly. I say it in my office all the time. Someone will say, it's really hard. And I'll say, yeah, but we can do hard things, right? Or they'll say, I can't do it. And I'll say, yeah, but we can do hard things, right? And so this episode is for all of you who are trying to do this and still struggling, which is all of us, myself included. I think really what we need is some motivation and some support behind this. I think too, when we're trying to do hard things, the messages we receive from other people are like, just do it, or you got to suck it up. It shouldn't be this hard, or aren't you over this yet? Or, we feel weak because it feels so hard and it's not so hard for other people. But that's just not the case. And the other evening, I was at home and a very, very close loved one to me has been preparing to do a really, really hard thing that makes a lot of anxiety for this person, and is probably something that's quite easy for most of us, but is terrifying for them. And so I thought the best thing I can do with the skills that I have and the gifts that I have is to write them a letter of encouragement. And once I wrote the letter, I realized that this is probably a letter you guys might need to hear as well. And so I'm going to read it to you, and you can take from it whatever you like and hopefully think that you will enjoy it. So here we go. So here it says, "Hi, my love. Here are the most important things to remember when dealing with fear, dread, and panic. Just because your brain is telling you there is quote unquote danger, it doesn't make it true or real or correct. Our brain misfires and makes mistakes, all in capitals, the time. And it is our job to help direct it back to more reasonable reactions. If we react with resistance, we keep training our brain to misfire. Our job is just to allow the anxiety without reacting to it. We gently allow it to be present and allow it to rise and fall on its own. With this practice, we do not only retrain our brain, but we learn that beyond this moment of discomfort is freedom. Just a few minutes beyond this discomfort is our opportunity to do whatever the blank we want to do with our life. Fear doesn't get to make our decisions. Our values and hopes and dreams do. You are strong, but you don't have to be stronger than fear. It is not a fight, so don't fight it. Slow everything down and gently say to it, "It's okay, fear. I am just going to allow you to be here while I do the thing I love. You don't get to control me." I hope that helps. Love, Kimberly. So that is a letter that I wrote, like I said, and I think that takes the most important points that I would want to share with you as you do hard things, as you do exposure therapy, or as you go to therapy, or as you tell people about your struggles, or as you hold space for your discomfort. They're the things I would want you to know. And so I actually had a request from one of the listeners last week or the week before asking me to share a time where I really struggled with the concept of I can do hard things and where my brain went during that time. And so I'm actually quite happy to share that with you. I'm going to actually give you an example I gave quite a little while ago, which was when I had LASIK surgery. I may have talked about this before on the podcast. I know I did on Instagram, but this is something I have wanted to have for a very long time. But the idea of it absolutely freaked me out. And I basically let fear win. Fear was making the decisions. I decided to postpone it just because, the fear was too high and I put it on the back burner. So I do it too, right? But then I think I was talking to a client about, letting fear make our decisions and letting values and my health and my wellness make the decisions. And I realized, I'm doing it myself. So I got my butt up and I made the appointment and I went and had LASIK surgery. But the process was really interesting for me because I was being really mindful and I was doing great. And, as you know, anticipatory anxiety gets in the way. But I was really, using all my tools and not tending to problems that weren't actually happening. And, I was pretty proud of myself. But then the night before this, scary day, this hard day, I noticed that my mind shifted over into a new way of thinking. And I've done a podcast on this before called the yes mind, the maybe mind, and the no mind. I think it's episode number 7. Maybe it's number 10. You might want to check it for me. And basically, so if I were to use that example, up until the night before, I was in absolute yes mind. Yes, I'm going to do the hard thing. Yes, I'm going to get LASIK surgery. Yes, I'm going to, do this thing. And I'm going to stay very courageous. But interestingly, the night before, I made this switch into maybe mind. And maybe mind sounded like this. It said, Kimberly, this is really silly. Why would you go and get a surgery that you don't really even need? It's so unnecessary, right? There's a clue. I start to talk myself out of it, right? And the trick here is I was using really strong points. It's not like I was just saying, no, I'm scared, I'm not going to, because that would be no mind, right? No would be like, nope, not doing it. That's bad. Don't want to do it. But what I was doing is I was using my brain, was coming up with these wonderful, really legit reasons on why I shouldn't. And then I went into, it's so expensive. You could use that money to donate, to cancer or to the IOCDF, right? You could be doing something so much better. It's selfish for you to do this. And then I was like, wow, right? I'm pulling out all the really big things, the things that trigger me the most. The thoughts about being selfish, the thoughts about spending too much money, the thoughts about being unnecessary or lavish, expensive, So maybe mind was pulling me in and talking me out of it. And I'm not going to lie, I think I indulged in this a little bit, and I also have to take half a day off work, and that would be bad for my clients, and they would be just so much better off if I didn't take the afternoon off, or maybe I could even just take the afternoon off and go to the beach because, self-care is important. So you can see I'm bringing out all of these really key points to prove that this isn't a good idea, right? But once I caught that, and recognize that that is maybe mind, I was able to go back and have that really value-based discussion with myself on this idea of Kimberly. Are you letting fear decide here, right? And if that's the case, let's take a look at your understanding and your conversation about you doing hard things. Yeah, can you do the hard thing? Can you do the quote unquote selfish thing? Can you do the quote unquote unnecessary thing? Because we know that's all a lie. And even if we don't know it, right? If you're trying to do an exposure and you're not certain that it's all a lie, we still want to lead with values. We still want to lead with doing the thing we know will get us to living our full life. Now, for those of you who aren't really certain on what that means, right? You're being asked to do a hard thing and it's so uncertain and you're so confused and you really feel like it's risky. I think I would encourage you to do is just to look for the trends. If your mind is trending on this and keeps doing this, in a repetitive way, it's probably a default in our brain and we should move away from it, right? So if it's repetitive and it's hurting you and it's taking away from your functioning and your joy in your life, these are something we have to move away from, even if the rationale for doing it is pretty powerful and convincing. So I pulled myself together to come back to the story, and I recognized my maybe mind. I pulled myself heavily into yes mind, which sounded a little bit like that letter that I just read to you guys and the one that I sent to my loved one, which is, Kimberly, you can do the hard thing. It's all right. You are strong. You can handle this, right? And even if I didn't think I could, I know I'm a big believer in faking it till you make it and being really gentle along the way. And so I wanted you guys to sort of get a feel for that so that you can catch those conversations, that maybe mind that talks us out of doing the hard thing, right? Maybe mind is a really dangerous place to be, because while we're discussing whether or not we should do the dangerous thing, we're engaging in its content, right? We're getting caught up in the fear. And what we really want to be doing, like I said in the letter, is just allowing that fear to be there, letting it wave over us, holding our hand on our heart, whether that be literally or metaphorically, and being a safe place to fall when things are really, really hard. So I speak this to you because, again, number one, I know there are lots of people doing ERP school right now who are, gung-ho on doing hard things and are so excited and ready to go. And I know you're going to hit a roadblock of this maybe mind. But this is also for everyone who just is experiencing a difficult time, a hard part in their life, which we all have. We all come up against difficult emotions, difficult experiences, even coming up towards the holidays. I speak about this every year, is that this is a hard time. And the tax on being alive is that we have some pain here and there, and we have some fear here and there, and we have to hold our hearts as hard and as strong as we can, as it hurts. So that is my message to you guys. It is a beautiful day to do hard things. And what I want you guys to do is find something, one tiny thing maybe, and honor this by doing that hard thing. Just to show yourself that it is a beautiful day to do hard things. And on the other side of this hard thing is your freedom. You get your life back. You get your joy back. It's empowering. It's incredibly empowering, right? And so I do encourage you to pick a scary thing, pick a hard thing, and move in that direction. Okay? So once again, I'm just going to leave it at that, but I'm just going to say one more time. It is a beautiful day to do hard things. And the reason that I say that is you can have both. You can have a hard day on a beautiful day. I think that we have associated hard days to being bad days, but it's not that way. That's unrealistic. That's a story that's been fed to us by marketing companies. And we have to really look at that. That's not human. That's not real. That's not authentic living, right? We have hard days, and they can still be beautiful days, okay? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're holding your heart really, really gently, but unconditionally. And before we end, let's just take one deep breath and breathe out and just honor that. Please note that this podcast or any other resources from cbtschool.com should not replace professional mental health care. If you feel you would benefit, please reach out to a provider in your area. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for supporting cbtschool.com.